Hi, Geoff Wilson here, and I want to talk to you briefly about protecting your children from identity theft. I think this is an important topic that we need to discuss and needs to be out there. Um, the reason this came about was I was interviewed for a piece on our local NBC affiliate about a 16-year-old who had his identity stolen years ago and only found out about it when he went to open a bank account and was denied. And so this, can have real consequences. Um, and I think parents need to know kind of what to do, what to look out for to protect your children. So, um, the reason children are targeted by identity thieves is that they're a clean slate, right? They don't have a credit report, and so they're not negatively affected by their past credit. And if you are able to compromise a child's identity, you can use it compromised for years, and it will go undetected. A lot of times, because they'll find out, okay, when they go to apply for a job and there's a credit check, or they go to open a bank account. So some red flags to watch out for. If you ever get bills or credit cards addressed to your children, that could be a red flag. If you get credit card offers addressed to your child, that could be a red flag. If collection agencies are calling you regarding your child, that's obviously a red flag. And if you get a letter from the IRS stating that your child owes taxes, then indicators of fraud, right? So if you think your child's data may be at risk, the thing you should do is check the bureaus. So there's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And these are the three credit bureaus. So you want to see if they have a credit file on your child. You don't want to pull their credit report, and I'll tell you why. Most children don't have a credit report. If you have no credit activity ever, then you don't have a report. So you just want to know whether or not, yes, they have a report. But if you request a credit report, it could actually create the credit report itself. And credit inquiry can ding credit, especially if that's the only thing on your credit report. So figure out if they have a file or not. If so, it might be the sign of identity theft, and then at that point you'll want to request a report to see what's in it. You can freeze your child's credit. If your child has a credit report, you can freeze it. You can't freeze a non-existent credit report. So if they do have a credit report, freeze it. You got to do that at all three credit bureaus, and it's free now. But for most individuals, if you don't have any of those red flags, as parents, if you don't have red flags, if you don't have a reason to believe that your child's identity may have been compromised, you don't really need to check to see if they have a report. You could, but what you want to do, here's the thing. When your child turns 16, what you want to do is see if they have a credit report for sure when they turn 16. So if it turns out there is a report and there's fraud associated, you've got enough time at the age of 16 to fix it before they actually need good credit to apply for a job and apply for credit. So that's a to-do list, right? Put that on your calendar. When your child turns 16, do that. You want to safeguard your child's identity. And, an identity thief can do anything with a child's identity that you can do with an adult's identity. You can get a mortgage. You can file taxes. You can, do all sorts of things that you wouldn't expect they would allow children to do, but it's an identity, and identities are powerful. So we want to safeguard our children's identities. So if you've got documents with their social security number and other identifying information, you need to physically safeguard that, like your social security card for your child. Have that in a locked, secure location. And if you've got to write it down on forms, when you're done with those forms, shred them. Don't just throw away those forms. And if somebody is asking for your child's social, push back and say, hey, is there an alternate ID that we can use? Say like the last four of the social or some other identifier, because I don't feel comfortable giving out the social security number. And ask if you've got to give it, ask how that information will be used and protected. Um, Oftentimes, schools will ask for social security numbers, and so ask them if they allow the use of a different identifier. And then, if your identity is stolen, whether it's your identity or your child's, you got to take swift action. So notify the credit bureaus that there's fraud. Notify the business associated. So say you pull your credit report and you see some account at, you know, PNC Bank that is not your account, right? You would want to call that bank specifically and tell them, hey, there's an account on my credit report that isn't mine. Ask them to start an investigation on their end and tell them it may be fraudulent. File a police report with local law enforcement. You know, just filing the police report in itself won't do a whole lot, but it's an indicator that you're serious and that this is a legit, fraud that you're reporting. And then file a fraud report with the Federal Trade Commission. You can go to identitytheft.gov to submit that fraud report. So there is, so if you have one of those red flags and you're curious, okay, I wonder if my children's identity has been stolen. The three bureaus allow a free one-time scan of your child's identity to see if your child has a credit file. So like I did this with Experian's Child ID scan. And it took, all of, 10 minutes to put in the information to verify, and then it did its thing and says, nope, neither of your kids have a credit report, which is good. But keep vigilant and just the keys are, protect that identity information. Don't be giving out your children's social security number to people that don't need it. Push back if it's on a form, leave it blank, see what they say. I hope this has helped. I'm going to link to the NBC affiliate piece below so you can see that story, and really, it kind of hits home when you see that kind of gut-wrenching story. But these things can be corrected, and there is a way to solve it. But I think knowing how to stay vigilant, knowing how to protect your identity and your child's identity, and then knowing what to do if there is indicators of fraud. So hope this has helped, and I'll talk to you soon.